Started with the going live stream. Well,
Oh,
hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mike Lead Aspire session today. Hopefully, you had a great Friday. Hopefully, you had a great going into a great weekend, a good Easter weekend. Last weekend, I am pleased to have Dee Dee join me today, just to level set and chit chat, and as one of our trainers and biggest supporters, wanted to bring her back on. We'll get into that now. I'll let her introduce herself here shortly, but hopefully you guys are out there. You're liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel. We have a lot of great content. We just posted my keynote from the Minorities in Cybersecurity conference that happened in March. I'll be posting the rest of the other keynotes as well, just so you guys can see a little bit of what was going on. It was such a great time. Hopefully, you guys are putting and marking it on your calendars. TBD is going to be sometime in March, so we'll figure all that out as we go into the summer. But Dee Dee, welcome back. How are you doing?
hey Mary, thank you. I'm doing well, and I'm very happy to be here with y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. So let we can get started. We can talk. We can chat. These sessions are sessions for those that are trying to get into the profession, new to the profession, or trying to break into the profession. As you know, sure, well aware, we have our apprenticeship program that we train individuals to be in cybersecurity, and they like to hear different stories, especially stories from those that are come from non-traditional backgrounds. I keep stressing to them that they don't necessarily have to be an IT person to be in this profession. So I guess the first question again is, talk to us about your origin story. How did you end up in cybersecurity?
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Yeah, I love talking about it because to amplify your message that in cybersecurity, the career is not a linear path, right? It's very unconventional. In my case, I came to the States from Indonesia and I didn't speak English. I didn't know what I wanted to study. And I actually, in my junior year, I was forced to declare a major. And I chose accounting because it was the first thing on the list. And I had no idea in terms of, I had taken that basic accounting courses, I had taken so many classes. But at the end of the day, I thought, okay, since I don't know what I'm going to do, what I want to do, they always need accountant, even though I did not like the subject. I had no idea what I was going to be doing as an accountant. Then I graduated from my undergrad. And as a foreign student, I needed to maintain my student visa. This was actually, so I graduated in 1992. And again, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I chose my master's in accountancy. So that's double accounting. And at that time, so I moved to DC for my graduate degree. I went to George Washington University, I paid my student fees, tuition with my credit card, thinking, yeah, I'm going to be an accountant. I can pay off because I was not qualified. Still, am not qualified for any student loan. And so I did a co-op within the campus, and it was as a cost accountant. So calculating, oh my gosh, see if I can remember this. Calculating how much it costs, the numbers of beds in the hospital. Because I co-op with the George Washington Medical Center, and there's accounting, then there's cost accounting. I just could not grasp the concept. And but I knew I liked computer in terms of I was problem solving, data entry and everything. All my coworkers say, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? I had no idea. I was just doing trial and error, but I solved their problem through the computers. And so when the public accounting firm back then. It was the Big Eight. Now it's Big Four, where they were doing their campus recruiting. They say, "Hey, what do you want to do with your major, with your degree?" I said, "I don't know, but I do not like accounting." And I said, "I like computers, but I really don't know anything about computers. I had taken MIS courses, but very conceptual." And Coopers and Lybrand then said, "Oh, we have just the right role for you." And it was called EDP auditing. No idea what it was. I was just exciting. And then I just asked, I say, "What does it mean?" So, well, electronic data processing, EDP, which is actually the precursor of IT, because the terminology IT back then didn't even exist. So his explanation that you're going to combine your accounting knowledge with computer. That that was good enough for me to say, okay, some accounting, some computer, best of both worlds. And so that's how I started, and learning the journey through the auditing principles, what it was, what controls were, because controls back then in the mainframe environment to now in the cloud and AI and everything is still translate to be the same thing, even though the technology changed. So that was a good foundation for me, and I ended up liking it actually. Didn't like being an auditor necessarily, but I liked the concept of strengthening, implementing controls, especially in financial system transactions. I just evolved from there to
Yeah.
become IT consultant, information risk management and information security analyst. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of fast forwarding, but the basic thing is I started out in accounting and I was very adamant telling people I did not like it. And I told them what I liked. I think maybe that's what opened up the pathway for me to become where I am today. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I tell folks, that there are several different ways that you could get into this profession, and audit is one of those ways. And learning controls and things like that, understanding risk is a way. And so I know you teach the course within the builders course about, you know, how to put these different skill sets together and how to build out a career in various aspects of things in the your former CISO. So, you have a purview or you have a viewpoint of what information security is and what a team looks like from an information security perspective and how to put those pieces in play. So, give our listeners here some ideas on besides IT auditing, where are some other places that they may not be looking non-traditionally that is still under the CISO's purview?
oh, yeah. Actually, communication is number one,
Mhm.
because you could take all the technical courses, whether you want to take networking, all the certificates and everything else, but if you don't know how to translate those technical terms into the business language, even just to communicate with your peers, then it's not necessarily useful, because uh, we need to take actions based on what we find. So communications is, to me, it's actually a big deal. So even when I hired people, my former team members, for example, they're heavy in their application security layers, cloud security architect, network security, and I made them take the leadership course in terms of communication, business writing, and so forth. That was because I can't have their reports to me and I'm translating that. I don't have the capacity to do that. So I want them to learn that. And they ended up actually embracing that and liking it. Another one that when I was hiring from within is service desk. Their service desk people, they know how to deal with angry users. Right? That's also on the people side, and they get exposed to many different issues that come to them, whether or not they were the problem solver, but they're able to kind of what do you call it, triage. They know how to triage. They know how to calm people down, and they know how to escalate it up. And so that is another one that I would look for. Especially I get excited when someone from the service desk community say, "Hey, I'm only doing help desk or just," I said, "No, don't use the word only or just. Those are critical skills that you are developing." Yeah, so
Yeah.
and other ones, I've hired people with music degrees. I love the way they think in creativity, and their math is actually very strong usually from the music background.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just intriguing, right? Because I feel like the cybersecurity profession, information security profession as a whole doesn't do a good job of embracing the fact that there's so many different areas, like, with when we start talking about customer service, and if you have retail experience, that's the help desk.
Yeah.
Right, it's like like you said, dealing with angry people is an art, and I have individuals come to me all the time. Oh, Miss Mary, I want to be a pen tester, and it's like, well, can you write? Because you do know you have to know how to write. You have to write the report, right?
Yeah.
I think, as I talk to people, and as I um bring on more people into the profession, it's just this big old huge, I don't know what it is. It's just a lack of information about what it takes, really. And they think it's just this one path, right? This is the one path you go, and this is the way that you're going to break in. But there are all these other different pathways into the profession that we try to bring out and let them know. It's like I talked to a couple of people today, and he's in healthcare. He's in helping individuals with the transition from paper to electronic health records, and trying to look at that from a security perspective. Because I personally don't believe. I mean, I was at the doctor. I'm like, everybody's on these portals, but I'm questioning whether or not those portals are actually secure.
Makes me nervous. Yeah.
It does. And
Yeah.
so I was just, explaining to him how, you can take what you've been doing and look at it from a security perspective, right? And then building up those skills are important, and understanding that. So, how's the consulting thing going? I really wanted to ask you about that too.
It's the best of both worlds, right? As a CISO, I mostly my role as a CISO is as a leader, as a communicator, as a change agent. So I didn't really get to do the technical stuff or the actual work that I love doing, but that I had gained all the skills when I was an analyst. And having my own consulting firm, I'm still a solopreneur. I have the best of both worlds. I'm actually doing the actual design, architecture, and advising without really being involved in the political administrative stuff in a corporate setting. And as soon as my hours is up, I close the laptop. I don't go back. I don't deal with incidents. I don't do operational stuff. However, I must say that when I was younger, being an incident response commander actually was exhilarating. It was addictive in itself because it's got that element, because you've got the mysteries and you're in charge. People are relying on you, and it felt good, but I got burned out doing that. So when if any of you are in that role, just be careful. Just pace yourself. It can be addictive if you have an addictive personality like me, doing things like you're gonna give 1,000% of yourself to that. It can wear you out. So yeah.
Yeah. So in the beginning, it was just like a sexiness to it, I
Yes.
guess. And then you kind of got burned out towards the end, huh? I guess.
Oh, I mean, when it happens during the holidays and on Mother's Day, I remember WannaCry ransomware happened on Mother's Day. And so, yeah, finally, the family too didn't like it.
No, I can imagine. I mean, well, no, I've lived it as well, being the head of the security operations center. There's it's 24 by 7, right? And bad guys don't come during 9 to 5 during any given day. As they usually come tonight. They'll come at 5 o'clock on a
Yeah.
Friday.
Holiday too. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
holidays, because I remember having to get up on New Year's Eve. Um and answering the issue that we were having in the security operations center. That's, like I said, that's part of the role that, people think about when they think about information security, cybersecurity.
Right,
They think
right.
instant response and being a triage and everything like that. And so, you have the thing. So when you are your audit background and thinking about the risk management aspects of the things that you've done either before or now, how has, well, yeah, give me an example of one type of skill that you use across all of them, that you would say, hey, besides communication, because we've already did that one. Besides communication, what's that piece of advice that you could give someone when they're saying, okay, what's consistent from the accountant through Cyberpoint advisory?
No, that's a good question. I always think the analytical and critical thinking skills, because in our profession in cyber, you can't believe what you're being told. So that curiosity through asking persistent questions is the why. That helps with, especially in the information risk management, in risk assessment. Say an example, um, usually in the risk assessment area where new solutions is being brought in by the business or by the organizations, whether it's an emergency to fix something that's broken or it's a long-term strategy, right? And the key word with that critical thinking skill is when everything is rushed, people tend to want to take a shortcut. Therefore, your critical thinking skills, analytical thinking skills being cut off. Do not lose that. Keep asking the questions, such as simple as why do we need the solutions? Do we have an existing solutions in place? Who's going to have access to this? Keep asking those questions because the responses to those questions will form the connecting dots to the big picture of the risk. And do not believe what you're being told, because if people just naturally, when they want you to get things done, they'll tell you whatever you want to hear, right? Say, hey, is it authenticating, is this the application authenticating against our directory services? They say yes, and then once you start testing it, the answer is no. So when they say yes, the follow-up questions would be, do you have an example? What directory services do you need? Is it ready to go? Is it plug and play? Or is there certain, do we need to create a jump box to get to the directory service? Things like that. And those questions, and I realized they come as you learn every day in the environment. It doesn't come in the book necessarily. They
Mm.
can be in the book, but every situation is going to be different. So that curiosity, analytical, critical thinking, and if things don't sound or don't seem that they make sense, then it's okay to question them.
Mm. Well, I mean, and I think, younger professionals have they naturally don't want to question, especially people that have been around for a while. And, it's the building of relationships,
Yeah.
honestly, that individuals come into when they're junior professionals. They don't really know how to do that piece. What advice would you give them in regards to how do you go about building those relationships within, because it becomes, whether you like it or not, your skills are going to get you only so far.
Mhm.
Whether you are, especially if you have desires to ascend to the level that Dee Dee ascended to as a CISO, you have to manage all types of relationships. And one of the talks we had at the conference was how to become an internal go-to resource, right? And then how to build up your brand and reputation internally and externally. So what advice would you give a very junior person that's, going into the space, not knowing, already is somewhat feeling insecure? What advice would you give them as far as their trepidation or their not being comfortable to ask questions?
Sure, no, that is a surviving skills in this field. Uh, Keep in mind, this is coming from an extrovert. I'm an extrovert, I'm full of energy. So I usually, when I came in as a junior, I remember, being an Asian, being whatever it is, people have that unconscious bias. When I came into one company, new company, not new company, I was a new employee to this company. I showed up, I asked for a laptop, and they said, no, admin does not need a laptop. They assume I was an admin, right? So, but I would have been, I could have been mad, I could have been angry, insulted, and everything, but I practice humility, saying, oh, no, I'm not an admin, but I'm the new information security analyst, and this is my day one. I need help. So that, in a way, actually broke down the defense from the other side, because you don't want them to feel bad either for assuming that you're an admin, right? But saying that, hey, you are new, you need help. I need help. I don't know anything about it. So that kind of being new in the profession is similar. You make the relationship. Don't just sit at your desk. Oh, nowadays, if you're remote, um, I know it's a different world. Reach out to the other departments, make connections. But I understand some these things are hard for people who do not have the same personality as I am. I talk to everyone from the security guard to management executive when I was a junior, even as a newcomer in the field, because I'm always curious. I want to know what they do. Even the physical security, I would say, hey, what time do you start working? What kind of crazy things you're seeing all day? You already establish an allyship with them. If something were to happen in the physical world, they're gonna watch out for you, right? It's the same thing within the corporate. Talk to the accounting people, make friends with the auditors, especially when you're part of the team that's being audited. Instead of being defensive, just say, hey, I want to learn more about what you're trying to audit. Maybe I can help you. So form that trust, build that trust, like you said, Mary, and that allyship. And then I literally my go-to departments as a new employee, whether I'm a junior or an executive: HR, auditor, legal, supply chain, which is procurement, corporate security. Okay. It's because they once you develop that relationship with them, and it's not that you're trying to manipulate the system, but when you're trying to case in point in the relationship with the supply chain procurement, they're the first gate for any contracts that are going to be signed by the company. They are the ones who are going to sign it. My trusted relationship with them helps me with the risk assessment, saying, hey,
Mhm.
Didi, this business unit wants to sign a contract for this solution. Have you heard of it? I said, no. Or has the security team reviewed that? I said, not that I'm aware of. So they said, okay, let me tell your manager then for them to go through this. So that's another example that is beneficial for both ways. And at the same time, I also offered them, say, hey, what would you like to learn more on in the cybersecurity world, right? What do you want to know what I do? daily, meet for lunch to talk about things like that. It has helped me tremendously in my career, again, because they feel that they belong and they're part of the team, like you should belong too. You should belong and be part of the team, the whole picture.
So how does that change in the remote environment?
Oh, in the remote environment, you just have to make an effort when you are, say, in a town hall, virtual town hall, you see who the attendees are, pay attention who asks question, and then jot down that name and follow up, send them an email later, hey, saying, I like the question you asked to management. Can we keep in contact? I am in this department, I'm doing this and that. So that's an example.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I tell the individual people that are coming into this space that as a junior professional, remote is not really the best situation for you because you're trying to build relationships, especially if you're an introvert.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult, like you said, to reach out to individuals just to say, hey, you just want to keep your head down and do the work. Where the reality is, as you progress up um, in your profession, it's going to be very, very important for you
Yeah.
to have those relationships. And you can talk a little bit about that. How important were establishing those relationships to your career and your career ascension?
Yeah. I know that in the course, in the builders course, I usually add at the end, towards the end, what they don't teach you at school, like taking a peek behind the leadership or corporate curtains, is your supervisors and managers continuously talk about you, about your performance and everything else. If you don't stand out, then out of sight, out of mind. They're not going to fight for you. They're not going to make time to promote you, advance you, and so forth. So it is important to build that relationship. And sometimes do not think, just be courteous to your direct um, supervisor. Be courteous to everyone, including contractors, because those contractors sometimes were hired because they have a relationship with management. Now that I'm a contractor consultant, I know that some of the young people, they treated me differently because I'm just a consultant. But I'm the eyes and the ears on the ground. And when management asks, so what's going on with that? So that's another tip. What they don't teach you at school, right? Be courteous to everyone, because words spread, words matter. When other people talk highly about you, then it's easier for your supervisor, your manager to fight for you, because when it comes to management, I mean performance review, promotion, and everything else, they're only given certain spots. Your supervisor is only given certain spots. Not everyone can be promoted. Not everyone can be given a raise. They also have a pool of the budget. How is the bonus going to be divided up? Yeah, if you don't have that good relationship, then they just said, okay, yeah, we're not gonna fight for this person. The
And you have a
loudest,
great point. No,
yeah,
I was gonna say you have a great point because as a contractor, they do that. They bring it because a lot of times when they bring in an advisory organization or some type of consultant, part of the assessment is of the team.
yeah, yeah,
And so if you're not treating this particular contractor, you may not know that this person is now literally auditing or assessing you individually. And because I've been in those rooms, well, what do you think of this person? Or what do you think of that person? It's like, I'm just a
exactly.
consultant. Why are you putting me in this particular situation? Do we have the right team? Is this the right feel? So that is a very good peek behind the curtain for individuals to understand. Is the don't discount the outside consultant.
Yeah, yeah. And just applying that basic humankind, be both, right? Be human and be kind. because that just gets you a long, long way. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, and as you now have made the transition, because you've been out on your own for what, a year and a half now, or maybe
two and
two?
a half,
Two
yeah.
and a half. Okay. Okay. You
So
started
time
teaching
flies.
with me. Yeah, time
Yes,
does fly. Time
yes.
does fly.
My
And
third
so,
year teaching with MIC.
yeah,
Yeah, with
yeah,
me.
it
Love it.
is. And so what what have you learned in this 2.5 year period? Outside of just not being the CISO and not having to deal with the politics. Well, we can pull on that one a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's many different aspects, right? The first one, transitioning from being a CISO of big oil and gas companies to quote unquote a service provider slash contractor slash vendor. I get uninvited to so many events because now I'm being seen as, because vendors usually invite the decision makers because they approve purchases and everything. I've been uninvited. My ego hurt, but then I realized, I know now. That helped me kind of filter out who my true allies were. Right?
Hmm.
So that's one lesson learned. The ones who truly, truly appreciate me, respect me, no matter what I do, they still continue inviting me to speak, to connect, to network, to help them even, connecting with other practitioners.
Hmm.
So that's one. The other one is I thought I had thick skin as a corporate CISO,
Uh-huh.
being criticized, being yelled at, being all that.
Hmm.
But uh, when, as a consultant, my proposal is rejected, it hurts. It's a different type of skin that I need to develop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah.
Go ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. So self-promoting is not necessarily within my the way I was operating. I was always focusing on my team before when I was in corporate America, but now I had to have a self brand, personal brand. And I have to quote unquote shamelessly posting on LinkedIn about what I do, about my business and everything. And I had anxiety to begin with to post on LinkedIn because as a CISO for corporations, we were not allowed to post anything. Our posts were
Mhm.
watched, was censored, filtered, and everything else. But now, I had my own reign. I had anxiety posting on LinkedIn. Um, yeah, those two are big ones, and I started being exposed to the tech founders in
Mhm.
Houston. Oh my gosh, it's so refreshing because the ecosystem of entrepreneurs, not just in Houston, everywhere else too, they have the interest to keep the ecosystem alive. So they want to
Mhm.
help you, they want to help each other versus trying to take advantage of you. My gosh, the people that I've met who've guided me through this is what I need to do and everything without expecting me to do anything else for them, that has
Mhm.
been so game changer, refreshing, and everything else. So yeah,
Okay. Well, that's good. So you had to learn to use the skills in a different way.
yeah,
And so yeah, taking the ego out of it can be difficult. I've been in and out. I think I've been an entrepreneur now more than I actually sat in corporate America. So yeah, that ego thing, I guess. And it's just, being able to navigate. So if you're starting out as an entry level professor, listen to me, as an entry level professional, cybersecurity professional, how you now take these bits and pieces to navigate those spaces, right? To be able to communicate and what I hear you saying is, heavily rely on your non-technical skills in order to get to where you want to go. And what I tell people, I said, your resume will get you an interview. It is your non-technical skills that will win you the job. Would you think
that,
that's a fair statement?
Absolutely. I would rather hire someone when I was a hiring manager with less technical skills, but all the personal leadership skills check the box versus someone who is heavy in the technical skills. They have the most experience in OT security, but then they would leave dead body behind while they're doing the work. No, because the cost of managing that conflict daily is more costly than you think,
Mhm.
because you have to deal conflicts daily and not good
That's what
mentally.
that's what leaders have to do, though. Dee. That's funny. And did you know that before you took the CISO route that you would be dealing with more people issues and political
No, of
issues?
course not. Of course not. I just thought I could do anything. I was young, so yeah, sure. And then, oh my gosh, daily, unbelievable. So I learned from that.
Yeah, and so you learned from that. Did you take any leadership courses or anything like that to help you with that?
Yeah, my supervisor said that, hey, let's take the, what is it called? The first line supervisor training, how to deal with conflict and crucial conversation. Yes, yes. They said I requested for all this training. They sent me to all this training, including presentation skills and
Okay.
communication and everything. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so you were able to navigate, I say, all of those things. But how does that help you now? Don't you find, I find as an entrepreneur, dealing with customers is somehow easier, maybe because I am, like you said, I can shut my computer down and I don't have to, as opposed to dealing or supposed to being in it uh every day, all day, because you can't get away from it, right?
Yeah, and oh my gosh, the change, the differentiation is very, very it seems very insignificant, but the impact is huge, is magnitude. It's the fact that yeah, I make recommendations, but I'm not accountable to if they do something else, right? If it doesn't go along with whatever, the impact would be different than planned. Um, and we have that understanding. I'm only advising.
Mhm, mhm,
And when my advising is at the people, process, and technology, so it's not just at the technical level, but it's, yeah,
mhm.
like you said, I've been asked to, hey, can you assess the situation over here? They're having conflicts. One's want to implement Wi-Fi this way, the other one that way. So see who's not willing to collaborate, things like that. So I'm not the spy, but kind of like the
A
consultant.
little bit. But that's part of the consultant hat, is to be a spy.
Right. Yeah, the burden is much different. The money is less, but I'd rather have less money and less anxiety than a lot of money and full of anxiety.
Well, I mean, okay, so you are a minority female CISO, or were a minority female CISO. And I, as an entrepreneur myself, at least when I was consulting, right now I'm doing something completely different. But the challenge of building a business, right? And so I found, and you share with me your thoughts, I found that the same challenges from a career perspective that I had in corporate America, be not being taken seriously, being overlooked, um, being minimized, unconscious bias, all of those things still translated into when I'm trying to win business. Do you find it to be that's the same?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm,
Again, they may not be conscious doing that, but it's just reality.
mhm,
So, yeah, I'm navigating that and contemplating of partnering with the majority
mhm, mhm,
so that they can be the one doing the to be the face, you know. I
Mm.
don't, while I have the reputation, the technical skills, and the deliverable reputation and everything else, but they can be the face and they kind of like, oh, okay. Um, so I'm contemplating doing that. It is,
Really?
yeah, yeah. Um,
How do you feel about that?
not all of them were created equally. So some of them are actually very, very good and very genuine. And so, yeah, so I have to be selective which ones I want to partner with. Yeah.
All right. And so you're trying to hack it in a different way, come at it from a different way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I won't say what I was going to say, but so you find that to be the case because I find like even as because there again, entrepreneurship is one of those things that can come out of a career in cybersecurity. Once you get to the point where you've achieved something that you want to achieve, and you're like, I can't deal with corporate. I need to go out and do my own thing. That is a pathway. So understanding those challenges and a lot of those challenges translate into trying to win bids or try to win business. And with the whole attacks on DEI and things like that, and supplier diversity, there are this thing called supplier diversity. You know, supply chain, right? Supply chain
Mhm.
diversity. And so even the impact on that and going out and being able to, you know, win a bid,
Yeah.
right? Because for you guys that don't know, right, supplier diversity, there are organizations that have goals to do business with small and mid-sized companies. There are things called minority business enterprise, MBE, women-owned business enterprises, WBE, Disadvantage. You got Hub Zone. You have all of these certifications that you can get as a business owner to try to win some of the contractual set-asides
Mhm.
that other organizations may have. And so there's an undercurrent to that supply chain. And so are you seeing, based on the changes that's been happening in the current administration, a reduction in the commitment of organizations to diversify their supply chain as well?
Um, Not drastically. Before I answer
Mhm.
that question, I do want to point out that all the engagement that I've won so far that I'm actively working on, those are based on relationship. They see me as a capable, reputable former CISO and as a practitioner, right? So, and I've had no problem with that. What I was referring earlier is when I want to expand my business because I want
Mhm.
to create employment,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
especially for the minorities and cybersecurity community. So that's the one that I'm contemplating of partnering with the majority. So I wanted to make that clarification that there's that yeah. But to answer your second question, have I observed anything? Not drastically. I know that they've all needed to reduce and streamline their approved uh, partnership with the supply chain, right? With their suppliers. I don't I haven't seen the kind of like as a result of a DEI, especially in the big companies, but it's more that they just need to streamline it, cut down costs.
Mhm.
They don't go direct. I think, how many times have I have tried to get you engaged and everything? It's just but the MiC talent, they don't do direct, things like
Mhm.
that. So it's more streamlining than the direct DEI efforts. That's what I'm observing currently.
Mhm.
So
All right.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Let me see. Did anybody out there pose any questions? No, I don't see any. I don't think I'm actually logged in correctly. I am not. But no, let me go. But let me check and make sure there are no questions out there. But no, I mean, so what's next? Okay, you want to become um an employer of people. right? What does that look like? Additional, you trying to grow your consultancy in that capacity? Is that what you mean? You want to add different capabilities?
Yes. So I have a contractor working for me looking for bids. I want to do the business with the government, believe it or not. This is before all the reduction with Doge. But
Mhm.
at the federal, state, and city level. So there are still opportunities out there. I have a mentor from that community. It's called the Apex Accelerator, who helps, there's still contracts out there that still needs to be fulfilled. So I have someone helping me getting certified because I'm working full time, with my client, and then looking for bids, submit bids, RFPs, things like that. Yeah. So,
Mhm.
but I don't want to be, I shouldn't say this probably. I don't want to be too big where I don't want to be greedy because my mission is to create employment, especially in the disadvantaged community, right? That's what I want to do in cybersecurity. That's my area of expertise. I don't want to be getting it too big where the mission is blurred and I'm going after the money alone. So
I
keep me
completely
honest.
understand
Keep
that.
me honest. Yeah.
It's a I tell my team I don't need to be the biggest. Neither Mike nor Mike Talent need to be the biggest. We just want to make the best impact or have
Yeah.
the
There
biggest
we go.
impact.
Yeah.
And so by concentrating talent, by developing talent, by really only working with the talent that have gone through our programs to help them find jobs, that's our sweet spot, right? So it's like I don't have to be this huge, employment placement organization. It's like, okay, if I can just get the folks that we're investing in, right?
Yeah.
Place. Those are the things that I talk about as well. So I understand, and I've been asked and about changing our name and doing all this other stuff, and it's like that's not true. Values don't change. And
Yes.
so, whatever your values are, they don't change regardless. And we're being true to who you are and what you want to do is very, very important to create something meaningful and successful for you. So, kudos to you as
Oh,
well
thank you.
just like, hey, look, I don't think it's greedy. I don't think wanting money is greedy. I think, you don't want it to become a job. I was told that because I do a lot of teaching in all of our programs, and one of my mentees is like, never lose sight of what you started doing that you love to do, and I
Yeah.
love being able to give back and teach others how to be in this profession, not only technically but how to survive corporately.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that is a very, very, very important thing. I don't see any questions out there, Dee Dee.
But hang on
Go
though.
ahead.
Do you remember how we met?
I do. We met down in Houston. What was I down there for? It was
You
at a
were a
CISO
keynote
event.
speaker. You were a keynote
Yes,
speaker for
I
the
was.
CISO event, Evanta. I remember. I had a girl crush on you already immediately. I said, "Oh my gosh," because I mean, whatever you were saying, that was aligning with me. And that was the purpose. I had just started my business, and that was the purpose that I was looking for. I said, I gotta meet this lady. And that's how we met. And then when you asked me to be part of the trainers, I said, oh my gosh, absolutely yes. And so because I mean the way you talk right now, mentioning but this is what you want to do, making the biggest impact. That's exactly what I want to do. Yes, I want to have a lot of money too, because when women are rich, we share, we give back.
That is absolutely positively true. And we
Yeah.
do, we give back and we want to bring others along, right? To
Yeah.
get there and to be there. But
We
I mean,
will.
did you want to talk to anybody about your company and your business? I'll give you, a couple minutes to have free press. Like, what kind of services do you have offer from a consulting perspective?
Right now, since I'm the only one doing it, I'm strictly an advisor, and I do merger acquisition, mostly in oil and gas, doing OT, IT security, convergence, separation. But when I grow my business, I want to do risk assessment, vulnerability management, data protection, insider threat program, all those things, pen testing as well. So anything, the typical menu in the cybersecurity program, I would like to be able to provide that service. So
Oh, that's great. That's great. So building a small consulting firm that is mighty and doing great things. What your target audience, small and mid-size, or
I
you're at big
initially,
oil right
yeah,
now? You're at big
yeah,
oil right now.
initially small to mid-size, but they have low budget too. No, I mean it's hard to create an employment, right? When they have small budget. That's why I'm targeting the government, working with the
Mhm,
government, because at least
mhm.
the contract would be more than 1 year, right? There's stability in that sense.
That's fair. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I'm aiming for.
Well, that is great, Dee Dee. And thank you. I would say thank you so much for joining us tonight. Any last words?
No, I'm just so happy, and thank you for inviting me to have this chat with you. And I want to continue partnering with you as long as we both can, able to. So yeah,
Absolutely,
I love the
absolutely.
community.
Yes, yes, the my community, and hopefully, we'll get you back to the conference next year. We'll
I
see.
know. Miss it this year. Too much going on this year. So yeah.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine, perfectly fine. Everybody, thank you so much for staying with us, for joining with us, for having us in your life here on this Friday evening. For those that you're out there on the YouTube channel, and those of you that are going to be watching this after the fact, please like and subscribe to our channel. I've been screaming that for 2 years, and I'm still not at the point where we can get some residual income from monetization, even though we have enough hours of content. I gotta watch it. I gotta watch the stuff, right? So, but in any event, thank you guys so much for joining us. And thank you, Dee Dee, for being our guest tonight. We really, really, really appreciate it. It's good to see your face. I'm in and out of these courses sometimes. So sometimes I'm not able to attend, but it's good to see your face. And we'll continue to press on and change the world together. You guys
Yeah.
have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next time.
Thank